If you're like us, then you're probably running ads on Facebook, and so I want to show you the method that we use in order to test our creative before adding it to our main campaign and making some money. So the first thing we need to do when we begin our testing is making sure that you're doing all your testing in a different campaign to your core campaign. The reason for this is we don't want to muck up our results in our core campaign because we're going to be testing. That means it's going to be a lot of different ads in there, a lot of different data going on. And the last thing we want to do is mess up those winners that we already have in our core campaign. Also, this allows us to keep our test data very reliable when we're looking at it and not mixing up your successful campaigns. So if you're following along at home, then we need to make sure that we have one campaign that's going to be our testing campaign, and remember, completely separate from our main campaign. You want to be going for the objective that you actually want to optimize for in your main campaign. So let's say it's going to be conversions. The next part is we need to create our ad sets. We need to organize it and see what structure we're actually going to use. The best thing that we found is one ad set per creative test. So for example, if you are going to be testing your hook for your videos, then you have one ad set for this creative testing 3 different ads, which are all your different ad hooks. In terms of what audience you're going to be directing this to, we want to make sure that it's as even as we possibly can get. It's not being affected by any other factors other than the, whatever we're testing, the creative in this example. We want to go as broad as we can. We can gate this down and narrow this down in terms of our genders, our ages, our locations, but no more further detailed targeting than that. Remember, these ads will convert, so we want to make sure that the people that we are targeting, in general, are the right people. We don't want to be targeting 15-year-olds if our product is for 65 plus. In each ad set, we want to be testing about 3 to 5 different creatives to make it easier for us to actually see what is making the difference within our testing. Also, you can use tracking codes, just simple stuff, A1, AB, so internally you know what code matches with what, so that you can track this on a spreadsheet if you want yourself. There are 2 different types of creative tests that we do here at Fraggle, and one of them is a net new test. This is where it's creative which has never been tested before. This creative is completely new. Then we have iterative tests. These are creatives that have been tested before, but things are a little bit different. For instance, the hook's different, the main beat for the video is different, or even the copy or CTA. Inside the ads, you want to make sure that the only thing you're changing is the thing that you're testing. I.e., we want all the copy to be the same, we want the CTAs to be the same, the headlines to be the same. The only thing that we're going to be testing is the hook. And so I have 4 different videos. I'm going to import those, and we're going to do 1 ad per video hook. So I have 4 ads within 1 ad set. We tend not to use things like A/B testing because it's just not, I don't really find that it works with the budget very well. I feel like it's a much less controlled way to do it, and so this is how we do it. Sometimes we do dynamic tests where we'll test a bunch of creative within a dynamic ad set. Those do work really well, but the difficulty there is that Facebook have, for some reason, removed all the things and all the data that we want to see, so we can't see which ad is performing best, which creative is performing best. So normally doing it manually is the most reliable way to do it. So once you have your campaign set up, your testing campaign, you have your first testing ad set up, and you have your 4 ads inside there, each with a different creative, being the actual creative that you're testing. So for us, it's 4 different video hooks, so it's 4 full videos with the first 3 seconds change. We then want to set our budget. Your budget is dependent on whatever you can afford, essentially. It's recommended that you get about 50 or so events in your pixel per campaign until you can actually get it out of the testing phase and really start to see some results. But really, as long as you're giving it enough budget that testing phase carries on, I think you should be okay. I'd use the 50 events as more of a guide, just so that you're not turning off ad sets too soon. In terms of time, you want to be leaving your ads to run for about 3 to 5 days until you jump in and start to turn things off and actually looking properly at results. Anywhere sooner than that, it's a little bit pointless. And to touch again on budget, you want to make sure that this is a substantial budget, i.e. something like £20 a day, £30 a day. Doing £3-5 a day is going to be very difficult for you to see any kind of results. And when it comes to results, your ads are going to fall into a few different categories. You're going to have good results. Your CPA is great and just the way you want it. Basically, all your core data that you use as your KPI is going to be lower, if not the same as average basically. But then you have your not so good results, which most people will probably get at some point. Your creative is either not performing better than your core creative in your campaign, or it's just a complete and utter flop. And sometimes that happens. You're not always going to hit on a winner. It's not always going to happen. And so you need to make sure that you're constantly testing new creative in order to constantly be finding winners. In terms of interpreting your data, your main concern, at least for us at Fraggle, is your revenue. We want to know that your CPA is where we need it to be. You should have a goal CPA, and that's our goal, is to get you that CPA. So if it's running well, then fantastic. Just leave that ad and start to scale it within the testing campaign. We normally advise about 20% a day, something like that on your budget, and just keep it going. A lot of people straight away when they see a winner, they'll move that into the main campaign. But the issue with that is that suddenly something else might change within your core campaign and then it messes everything up. If something is winning, just leave it and just increase budget. You never want to turn an ad set off. Let's say you're testing multiple things. Don't just turn off the entire ad set. Go in, turn off the individual ads that aren't performing and aren't getting the statistics that you want. The main thing that we look at away from your main revenue and CPA is the secondary data. And this stuff is, especially from a creative point, which is where we're normally looking at stuff, this is the most important data for us. The first thing we look at is the video hook rate. How many people have watched your video in the first 5 seconds? It's a percentage of people that have done that. The next one is your video hold rate. This is how many people have watched the video up to at least 15 seconds. So after that hook, how many people have stuck around? This is a really great metric to track because it's basically like watch time on YouTube. How interested are people actually in your advert? And then finally, the unique outbound click-through rate. This is how many people actually clicked on your CTA. If you are testing different CTAs as part of your testing, this is obviously one of the main metrics you're going to be looking at, and in general is great to keep an eye on because this is how effective the CTA is on your advert. Like, people have clicked from there and then made a purchase. Once your testing is over, it's maybe run for a week or two, then what do you do? Where do you go from here? Well, of course, you need to, like we mentioned before, you want to scale those winners within a testing ad set. You want to make sure that you're keeping those winners keep on going. It's a great way to scale. But then also you want to duplicate those ads away from your testing campaign and you want to pop them into your core campaign along with all the other audience metrics that you have, and then they become part of your core campaign. This is a great testing method. It doesn't work for everyone. Sometimes the best thing that you can do, especially on smaller budgets, is just to basically drip in new creative into your core campaign and then just watch the metrics and see how it performs. But if you're dealing with bigger budgets, you need to be more structured. You need to make sure that you're doing things properly because things can get lost and you can become a bit erratic. So you need to make sure that you're doing it properly. I'm going to make another video separately on what you should be testing in terms of creative, what leads to the best results, some video hook ideas and things like that. So do stick around if you want to watch that. Make sure that you subscribe. Hopefully this video has helped in terms of how you can structure your testing campaigns and what to do when those tests are over. Testing is such a vital part of running any kind of adverts on social. So this kind of structure can probably apply to the majority of ad platforms. We do the same thing on TikTok as we do on Facebook and Instagram. And that's it for this video. Thanks very much for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed it. Leave a comment with any of your advice for others which might be in the same position as you. Thanks very much and we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.